Hi, I'm Rob Boyd, an English photographer from the UK. I decided to create this podcast series talking to international photographers whose work I truly love. I realised I knew nothing about these amazing people apart from their names and their stunning work. So I created a set of hopefully entertaining questions that finds out who they are and what they love. Hi Amy, thanks for finally joining me. I'm sorry, there's been so many problems trying to get hold of you and we got there in the end.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So if you start with your name and your Instagram name, that'd be brilliant.
Okay, my name is Amy Horowitz. I'm a photographer, and my Instagram is don't_smile_NYC.
Brilliant. Absolutely perfect. And you've got a website?
Yes, my website is amyhorowitzphotography.com.
Excellent. And where do you live?
I live in New York City.
Lovely. And where are you from originally?
I'm from South Jersey, down by like Freehold, Englishtown, Manalapan,
Yeah, nice. And is it different to where you are? I guess it's a lot different to where you are now.
Oh, that's suburbia. A lot of green lawns. But, it's nothing like the city. Nothing. It's quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. Great place to grow up, I guess.
Yeah, it was actually.
So if I visited you, where would you take me to shoot?
Where would I take? Well, of course, I would take you to Washington Square Park. That's where I shoot my portraits. That's one of the places, one of the more interesting places, I think, in the city. There's so many places to go. Have you been to New York or no?
I have. 2012, before photography, I came with my wife for a long weekend and we obviously did all the tourist stuff, did a bit of everything really. It was after 9/11. So, you had the memorial just where it was flattened off and they were just starting to rebuild. So,
so it hadn't been built yet. Yeah.
No.
I would say, also Chinatown is another good place to shoot. There's so many. There isn't a bad place to shoot, really. The Lower East Side is interesting. There's so many places. You want to go, I guess, if you're a street photographer where there's a bigger concentration of people. In the city, there's people, but some places are more concentrated. And I guess that would be a lot of the touristy areas.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely brilliant. So I normally ask if there's anything for tourists, but you're in New York, so that's kind of, it goes without saying. So what's your favorite destination in the world? Where do you love the most?
Where I like most is here, to be honest. New York is my favorite place. I've traveled to many, many places. Probably my favorite trip that I took was Africa on a safari. That was the most interesting, I would say. And for food, Italy, of course.
Yeah. I get that completely. But the nice thing is where you live. If that's your favorite place, that's what more could you ask for?
It is. I travel a lot, and it's always towards the end of the trip I get very antsy and just want to be back home. Back in New York City in my routine. It's just where I'm comfortable, and I always walk out the door and it never gets boring. I'm always energized and I'm never bored. I always have something to do here.
Perfect. Yeah, brilliant. So where would you most like to visit? What's on your bucket list?
Let's see. Where would I want to visit? Probably, I haven't been to Japan. I haven't been to Vietnam, those kind of, or Australia, but, they're far trips. I just don't know if I'm ready for that. It's a long, long trip, but yeah, maybe those places.
Yeah. No, good choices. Yeah, perfect. It's a bit of a weird question, but if you could time travel, where and when would you visit?
Where and when would I visit? I would go back to when I was younger, when my grandmother was alive and our families. Back then I was, I don't know, maybe let's just say I was 10 or something, when our families would get together more. It would be the kind of thing where aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, everybody would gather and we'd be together all day. Here I find family gatherings last about the length of a meal, and then everybody starts to leave. And I miss those days where the whole family would be together.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's a nice personal one. That's the thing, and it's those memories as well. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, my cousin we'd always cry when we had to leave each other.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
So, if you could photograph anyone in history, who would you shoot?
My dad, who is no longer with us. I know I'm giving you all personal answers, but family's important to me. But yeah, it would be my dad. He died when he was 79. He wanted to make it to 80 at least. He was sick. And he would have been somebody that had I been more into photography, I would have photographed more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean that's the thing. It's like with hindsight, and you think, oh, you got plenty of time. It'd be absolutely fine. And then, unfortunately,
Yeah. I mean, I have pictures, but I don't have like portraits, the way I do them now.
no, that would be amazing. Yeah, absolutely. No, brilliant answer. Absolutely perfect. So, tell me a fun fact or a story about yourself.
I can't say it's a fun fact, but I wake up at 4 a.m. Like I literally set my alarm for 4 a.m. I mean, people probably think I'm crazy, but I am a morning person. I like the quiet before the world wakes up. I have a very early family. So, I'll be speaking to my mom at 6 a.m. My daughter may text me at 7. So it begins early, like the phone calls and the outside conversation. So I like some quiet time to myself in the morning. So I get up very early.
I can say that must work well when you travel as well, because you can, go and see the city before it wakes up. Do you do the same when you travel, or is it just at home?
I usually get up early if I can when I'm traveling too. Yeah. I don't venture out at odd hours, but, being a female alone walking out at, when it's nobody's on the streets, not really ideal. But, I just like my quiet time in the morning and I get a lot done. I'm a morning person. That's when I have my energy.
So, what's your favorite word? I know it's another weird question.
Well, I am prone to profanity, and the F word does slip out of my mouth a lot, but that's not my favorite word. Another F word might be my favorite word. So there's a Yiddish word that's fakakta, and I think the word just is funny, and I find myself using it. I mean, it sounds funny, but it pretty much means like if something is fakakta, it's like messed up or lousy or ridiculous. It has different meanings. I don't know, what are you telling that fakakta story for? Or what are you wearing that fakakta shirt for? But I like that word.
Yeah, I like it too. It's great. That's brilliant. So, teach me a new word or a saying I may not know. Obviously, it's an international podcast. I try and learn something new.
Mashugana, you know that word?
Wow. No, that sounds cool.
That's another Yiddish word. That's a person who acts crazy or silly or has like all kinds of restless energy, and it's kind of a crazy kind of person.
Yeah, that's great. And say one more time.
Mashugana.
Mashugana. Wow. That sounds cool though. Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. It's a fun word.
And I'm always learning, so it's great. So, when did photography click for you? Obviously, excuse the pun, but one moment did you realize you could take a good photo?
Well, I always took pictures of my children. I took a lot when we had a house at the lake. My kids were young, like 9 or 10. And my husband would have them, we'd had a boat. They were jumping off cliffs and trying to water ski, doing all kinds of things that made me anxious. I'm kind of an anxious person. So I would always have my camera out, and that would keep me like focused on something else. So I didn't have to worry so much. And we'd always invite friends for the weekend, the kids' friends, our friends. And I'd always take pictures. This was back during film. So then I would run and go to the store, get them developed, and I'd always get 2 copies and send everybody pictures. And I realized then that I enjoyed taking like the candid photographs of what was going on at the lake house. So that's when I would say I really started getting into it. But then my kids got older and they didn't want their picture taken anymore. So that was the end of that. And then when I came to New York after they had grown up and left the house and we moved here, I took a portrait of somebody that actually I entered in the Women's Street Photographer open call, and it got chosen, I was chosen as a finalist, which had been like a dream, because I had the Women's Street Photographer's book, and I'm like, oh my God, these are amazing. If I could just get in here. And I did. I mean, that was like a thrilling moment, and that kind of propelled me forward and kept my interest going. And it's a funny story. I just ran into that person I took their photo, didn't get their name, but always wanted to thank them because they were such an inspiration. You know, it was like the first open call that I became a finalist. And I ran into them on the street, I'd say about a month or so ago. So that was exciting, and told them the whole story. Yeah.
Yeah. What a complete moment, and all the way around, like a complete
Yeah,
circle. Yeah.
for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Brilliant. So this is the hard bit, because I'm going to ask you for your favorite 3 photos you've taken and why you like.
Look, there are so many and there's different reasons. You know, I'm sure there's more than 3 that are my favorite, but one would be that portrait I took. The person's name was Raleigh Robinson. That portrait that I just spoke of was one of my favorites. I would say there's a picture I took of my mother sitting on the couch in my beach house. My mother always puts her hair up in rollers before we go out to dinner, like to set her hair. And the way she's sitting and her expression, like I always say, God, this is your Vanity Fair cover. Like if you'd be on the cover of a magazine with this picture, it was just iconic to me. I just liked it. Another photo I took was a close-up of a person who had a tattoo on their chest of their ex. It was like a beautiful woman on their whole chest. And then they told me it was their ex. But I can't tell you how big this was and how, like, no matter every time they looked at themselves, the person was right there. And I just found that like incredibly interesting. And they loved it. They said, oh, that person was so beautiful. I love it still, the tattoo. But I found that to be an interesting picture.
Yeah. No, crikey. Imagine that if they didn't like their ex anymore, and then,
Right, I know.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, I
crazy.
won't get a tattoo. And just I don't mind the idea of it, but if it was anything was slightly out of place, it would drive me crazy.
Too much of a
Imagine getting
perfectionist.
something. Can you imagine getting something like that? Oh my gosh! And then they're
Oh.
not a part of your life anymore.
So my youngest son, he used to like Ben 10 as a kid. Do you remember that cartoon? Have you heard of that Ben 10 cartoon? It was a cartoon series, and he loved it. And we always used to say, look, if you don't get a tattoo, because you won't love that cartoon anymore 10 years down the line or whatever. Anyway, he got drunk once, and he wrote Ben 10 in tattoo on his own leg.
Because just because you told him not to, he had to do it.
Because he just to say, yeah, I do like that cartoon, just because not to, but it's permanent. He's got it on his leg, so the word Ben 10 is written on his leg for everyone to see in his stupid drunken scrawl, and he can't get rid of it.
Does he regret it? He likes it.
No, he actually likes it. He likes it because it's just to be a stupid story. You say, what the hell have you got?
I guess it's a good conversation starter.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. So, what advice would you give a new photographer?
A new photographer, I would definitely say to practice, practice, practice. Look for inspiration, whether it's looking at other people's work, going to galleries, reading books, seeing documentaries about photographers, like so many ways, take classes. But I guess the most important thing is always have your camera with you. You don't bring your camera out, you're going to miss something great. So you just always have to have your camera with you and practice. That's what I would say.
Perfect. Absolutely. Brilliant stuff. So, what's next? What have you got going on? What's coming up? You're obviously busy, busy, busy.
I'm still on the, I published the book, A Walk in the Park, and that's been going on. So there's been a bit of, interviews and podcasts like this to support the book. And I'm trying to give the book out to the young adults that are in the book, meeting up with them to give them the book. And I've been collecting their phone numbers in case Instagram ever goes away. I want to reach out to them in 5 or 10 years and take their portrait again down the line. I think that would be interesting as a follow-up to a walk in the park. But my dream would be to have a gallery show of just my portraits, a whole bunch of them in one place would be incredible. I don't know if that's going to happen or, when, but you never know. I never would have thought 5 years ago I'm in the position I am now, having published a book and having my work exhibited, in so many places around the world. I never would have known that, 5, 6 years ago. I could never have imagined.
Yeah. No. And the thing is, would you want it on home ground? Would you want it in New York, or would you happy anywhere?
Absolutely. I'd want it as close to the area. I would love it at home. If I had an opportunity somewhere else, sure, I would entertain the idea. But I mean, ideally, it would be great to have it be nearby, because it's such a local story, I guess. It's documenting a time and a place and, young adults in a short period of time. But I suppose it would work I suppose it would be any interesting anywhere.
But I guess the thing is, then they could visit, they could see themselves as well. Well, I want to say, obviously, personally, from me to you, that you're so good with people. You're amazing, absolutely amazing with people. I mean, your photography is amazing anyway, but you're human contact with everybody, and you give up your time, and I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you so much. We had so much fun in Rome. The Rome
Oh God, did
Festival
we?
was great. It was great getting to know you too. And thank you for having me on your podcast, Rob.
No, not at all. And I love your work, and I really appreciate you being here.
All right. Thank you very much.